For this tutorial, all you're going to need is an extra big chunky yarn. So this one is a size 6, but to be honest with you, I think it's more a size 7, but I'm not really in charge of all those things. Anyways, this is the brand Yarn Bee, which is a Hobby Lobby brand. Now, something I'm going to point out is that this is only $6.99. This is the cheapest I've ever found this size yarn. It's also known as Big Bernat by Michaels, and so you can, it's the exact same yarn, so you can also get it there, but that is like $3 more. So this is the cheapest I've ever found it. I recommend going online and ordering some because they don't have it all year round, I believe. And the only other thing you're going to need are some scissors to cut your yarn in the end. So something I want to warn you about before we get started is that you will need a lot of these. And I'm going to show you how I do this, and it's actually finger yarning, or finger crocheting I should say. The hardest part about this pattern is just your tension. You need to make sure that you keep your tension pretty loose because it's easy to make it too tight. So to start off, like any crochet project, you are going to make a slip knot. For this project, we're going to be using our fingers as the hook. So I am going to reach into the loop and grab onto the leading yarn, and I'm going to pull through. Okay? And I'm going to reach in and pull through. Reach in and pull through. Reach in, pull through. Reach in, pull through. Okay, so this is your foundation chain. You're starting to create your foundation chain. So for me, I'm going to show you how to do a ribbed effect for this tutorial. However, what you are going to want to do is chain the height of your blanket. So whatever you want the height to be, I recommend chaining that many. I did 52. I'm just going to go ahead and stop here for the sake of this tutorial. This is only a sample. Okay, so we've reached the total number of foundation crochets that we want to use. Now what we're going to do, just like with any other crochet project, if you're doing a single crochet, which we are doing single crochet in this video, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Because we're doing single crochet in this tutorial, you're going to locate the second stitch away from your hook, or your fingers in this case. There's 1, there's 2. You're going to, hold on, that loop is way too big. You're going to insert your fingers, pull the yarn through the first loop, and then pull the yarn through both loops. Okay? So that is your first single crochet. You're going to continue single crocheting into each stitch across. So let's do it again. Here's the next loop right here. So I am going to, and notice how I keep the yarn on my fingers, and I'm putting my index and my thumb through the loop here, and then I'm going to put my index and thumb through the loop that we're going to be working into. I'm going to grab onto it, pull it through, and then I put my index finger and thumb through there, and I grab onto the yarn and pull it through both loops. Okay? So here it's starting to build. We're going to continue in this manner. Once you get the hang of it, it'll be really fast. Just go ahead and grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through. Just like a basic single crochet. Go ahead and continue working in this manner all the way down. It's important not to be too tight with your stitches. I will use my other hand, so although I'm not using my left hand to actually make the stitches, I am going to be using it to help my right hand grab the yarn. Make sure that the loops are not too tight. So if you notice, I'm pulling on the yarn as I go pretty heavily. Alright, and once you have single crocheted into the very last loop, you're going to chain 1 and turn. So here we have the first row of single crochet. It's looking pretty darn bulky, which is excellent. That's perfect for the winter time. So now what we're going to do is work into the back loop only. So when we look at it from the side here, you can't really tell. However, when you look at it from above, there's a front loop and there's a back loop. So we are only going to be working into the back loop. So with any other single crochet project, you want to be working into the second loop away from your hook, and since our fingers are the hook in this case, we're going to be working into this stitch right here. So you're doing the exact same maneuver, the exact same technique, you're only crocheting into that back loop though. So we're going to go into the back loop, pull the yarn through, and then make a single crochet. Boop, just like that. You're going to continue doing that all the way across. So just into that back loop, this one right here. So we're only working into that. So I'm going to insert my fingers and pull the yarn up and through, and then make my single crochet. Same with the next one. So we're completely leaving alone that very front loop, and we're going to be working in this manner all the way across. Make sure you're doing it all the way to the end. Things can get pretty constricted just because you're working with such bulky yarn and some loops kind of mixed together. Okay, so that was the second row. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn. And that is pretty much it. You're going to follow that same pattern all the way across. So you're going to do single crochets in every stitch across, chain 1, turn, single crochet in every stitch across in the back loop only. And it's that easy. You're just using your fingers to crochet the stitches instead of a hook. Now I will say that if you wanted to use a hook, you absolutely could. I actually tried this pattern using the recommended hook size at first, which is a hook size U, or in the UK that's a size 0. But unfortunately, I felt like the hook was actually too small for this yarn. I felt like the yarn was way bulkier than the hook allowed for, so I actually ended up returning that hook, and I thought it would be easier to use my fingers instead. And it actually turned out perfect because the tension is really nice, and it actually turns out a lot better with your fingers than it does with a hook. Alright, really quick, I went ahead and grabbed the blanket, the actual blanket, not just the sample that I was showing you. And I'm going to show you how I combine the two ends of a ball of yarn, just because that can get kind of tricky when you're working with such bulky yarn. But to be honest, I use the exact same technique that I use with any other project, and I really like how it just blends in with the project. So here we go. So I have both of the strings, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a knot I'm going to tie a knot onto this one, and then I'm going to tie a knot onto this one. So using both of the strings, or the tail ends, I'm actually just tying a knot. So I just tied a knot onto both ends. Now the key is to not make as long of a little tail right here as possible, but that's okay. Go ahead and pull, and this will lock them in together. This will not come apart, which is excellent. So now what I'm going to do is just trim off these two little tail ends, and then we can continue crocheting just like normal, and you really won't be able to tell at all where this is. So like I said at the very beginning of this tutorial, this is like the easiest at home thing to do while you're watching Netflix or YouTube or just doing anything, hanging out with friends, whatever. It's super easy to do. You don't need the extra cost of a large hook, but I will say that overall, this particular project cost me, I mean, honestly, I lost track. I think it was somewhere around 30 to 35 balls of yarn just for this one project, and they each cost $7 each. So do the math on that one. That's why these blankets are so expensive. That's why you see people charging so much. But yeah, I hope that you're able to have some fun with this tutorial. It honestly, I will say that that blanket makes me so hot. Like, it is so warm. It's perfect for the winter, but it is just so hot, and you would not expect it because it's just, I don't know, you just wouldn't expect it, but it's so thick and so warm. So you'll definitely get your money's worth out of it. However, I will say you definitely need to splurge a little bit on the yarn in order to get that look that you're going for. I did also make another blanket using my granny square method, and all I did was, I didn't know how much yarn I was going to need, but I just made a giant granny square and gave it away as a gift. I wish I would have taken a picture so I could show you, but basically I got my yarn from Walmart, which was maybe like $2 cheaper, but I mean, like, still, that's still, when you're buying that much yarn, that's a lot of money. And I ended up giving it away as a gift. It was a lot more holey, so there were a lot more gaps in it, and so because of that, I ended up only spending like $50, but it was only a lap blanket. This thing that I showed you guys how to make today is, I mean, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm pretty sure that both my boyfriend and I can fit underneath it. As of right now, it's just me. And I mean, you've seen pictures of it all over my Instagram and now YouTube and my website and everything. So anyways, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them down below. I'm super quick to respond. Even if I haven't been active, maybe like making videos or anything like that, I still respond to all of my comments, and that includes like any form of social media. I mean, I technically have a Facebook page, but I don't really use it, and I haven't used it for like 3 years. So don't focus on that. Instagram, YouTube comments here, and then on the blog, those are the three best places to reach me. If you have any questions about this, I'm totally down for troubleshooting. I've done it with like all my other tutorials too. So anyways, I'm rambling, and I hope you have a fabulous, warm rest of your day. Bye.
I saw stars on the pavement, California dreams, looked up through the bright light.